welcome everyone to another episode of the Plastic Cards Podcast, a show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name's Fonzie, and I'm joined by my co-host, the luxurious, glorious indie game dev extraordinaire, Gavin Jones. Gavin, I also have your tag name as Game Dev Exotic. I don't know if you've been watching Tiger King lately, but
literally everyone is watching it. I'm the only person on planet Earth that has not watched this thing at this point. I just need to watch it. And I think we discussed this. Like, I already know what's her name definitely killed her husband. That's about all I got.
Yeah, it goes off the rails quickly. Like, I watched the first episode and it just starts to ramp up how fucking nuts it is. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
It sounds like it's one of those cases, sort of like what was that movie, like Guess Who's Back, where like Hitler is suddenly back, where it's one of those movies where it's very funny until it's suddenly not. So,
yeah, like it's too real fast.
Right. Yeah, I'll be curious to watch it. By the way, I'm just gonna throw this out here. Now that you're furloughed, there's never been a better time for you to figure out how to do one of these sons of bitches.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. You could solve your first one in an hour. Just saying.
I'm all set, Gavin. I'm all set. I respect it. Like, I jumped in maybe about a year ago when I finally bought my Rubik's Cube, and it's cool. I accept the fact that I'm not going to be a master at it, and I'll dabble in every once in a while.
You don't have to be a master. I think you could learn how to do it though. It's really not that bad.
It's possible, but you explaining it to me, it's just like, I don't want to do any of this. I just, I want to figure out my own way.
There's way better explanations. The guy that showed me on YouTube was way better. Anyway, I'm not going to, you don't want to do it. If there ever was a time to learn it when you have
that's true.
all this free time, this is the time to do it.
No, that's true. And it's not your explanations. It's just, I realize the work that goes into it, and I just tap out. I'm just like, I'm good. But I'll solve it and leave it set somewhere so people, when they walk to the house, they see that I've figured it out. But other than that, I'm not going to do it over and over again. But
they figured it out or just never scrambled it to begin with.
Yep. Or move the stickers around. That's the key.
You don't move the stickers. You take off the pieces.
That seems harder.
It's better in the long run. Because at the end of the day, like the colors go, like when you reassemble the cube, it needs to be in a very specific, when you solve the cube, it's in the same exact, every piece is in the same exact position as when it initially started. So when you take off the sticker, you run the risk of fucking up your cube. Whereas if you take off the pieces, you can reassemble it properly.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, Gavin, you play any video games during this very horrible time lately?
I played so many video games. What did I play? I told you about some of them on this Saturday, but we tried out No Man's Sky. It was on sale for $30, and it's neat. I kind of already said. I don't think it's for me, but it's kind of neat. It is almost relaxing. I think if I had a bit more stuff, I'd be more relaxed, but right now I'm kind of strained for my inventory is too limited, so that's a little stressful. I don't know, like it honestly reminded me, and this is gonna sound dumb, but of playing Forager. And if somebody could make a baby between Forager and No Man's Sky, I think it would be an amazing game. We're just like bouncing back and forth, collecting resources, building bases. I think it'd be a blast. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Beat BioShock 2, which, fuck, that gameplay is good. The concept of defeating a big daddy to get the little sister and then defending the little sister is just an amazing loop. Despite the fact that the game probably crashed almost maybe 50 times during the course of play, it was rough. But I got through that, and that was it's just an amazing game. The story was pretty lame though, really. But now I'm jumping into Infinite, and the story it's really weird. I think the first two BioShocks, maybe one. Oh shit! I never hit record. My audio is going to get suddenly better halfway through this podcast. But yeah, it was definitely unique how going through the story again, knowing everything I know, having beaten BioShock Infinite, it's definitely weird, and it's, I just kind of know what stuff means, and how much
Gotcha.
stuff has meaning. So it's really interesting seeing that, like the twins. Who did you ever look into what the twins are?
Yeah, the I know they're not called this, but I think of them as the lettuce twins. But they're like,
Right.
what's the actual name of them? I forget.
Well, I want to say they're called the twins, but they're actually the same person from two different universes.
Yeah, I guess spoilers, but it's
That's
really like a 20-year-old game at this point.
yeah, it's a
But yeah,
20-year-old game at this point.
I dug that concept though. Yeah, I think I either they reveal it or I watched it later on, like
Yeah,
interpretations reviews where they break that down. But yeah,
yeah.
no, it's super dope, and it's funny as you're playing it. There's very Half-Life moments where if you zoom in on them or just kind of watch them from afar, they're always doing weird stuff that they
Right.
never focus on unless you're actually as a player go and look for them. Like I know there's a point where you have binoculars, you can see them doing tests and stuff in the background, and they
Oh,
just
really?
have this. Yeah, there's just this cool like little not Easter eggs, but like these moments that you'll miss. They don't really focus on them, but it's just kind of builds the story a bit with them. But yeah, they're cool. I really dug the gameplay of the third Bioshock. I was a big fan of it.
It's really weird going from two is very similar to one, but going from two to three essentially. It's weird how like the button mappings are way fucking different. Going from like I was getting stressed out uh in two. You have I want to say eight or nine. It may have been I think it was nine different weapons that you can pull up. So it was sort of stressful for me to remember which button jumps to which because you don't have on the PC version you don't have the handy dandy gun wheel, and
Oh, okay.
that's reduces a lot of stress with the controller. But yeah, without the gun wheel, it's difficult trying to pull out the right gun at the right time, trying to remember what button goes to what.
Yeah.
So I was fucking it up a lot of the time and trying to combine it with the camera. It was frustrating. And then plasmids are on the F keys, which I can't reach properly very easily. So I was cycling through using Q and Z, and it was just this giant pain in the ass. And then you go to, and there is down sights, but you really don't need to use it. I didn't even know there was an aim down sights button until almost the end of the game, and I still didn't use it. There's no sprinting. So then to go to this, which is more modern, you're going to be aiming down sights regularly. There's a sprint button. You can only carry two weapons. The plasmids is now on the number keys. It's really strange
Hmm.
how different the gameplay is. It feels faster. That being said, two is decidedly like plotting in the way you walk.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Um,
because you play as a Big Daddy in two. At least for the you're always from that perspective, right? Like that's your character is a previous Big Daddy
yeah,
or something.
except for one very small section. Um, but yeah, it's they're completely different, and
Yeah,
I do to an extent get why people say like Bioshock Infinite's almost not a Bioshock game. Um, but I don't know.
that's
At the same
true. I mean,
time,
movement wise, you're
fucking get
right.
over yourself. I
Yeah,
feel like world building wise, a lot of the elements it gets it. It's just I mean, it's definitely very streamlined, and I don't necessarily think for the worst, but I could see when you have those kind of rose tinted glasses at the time when it came out, how people um, would have been kind of upset. That being said, like the new Prey was definitely way more Bioshocky.
mm. Yeah. It seems like they've kind of taken that torch and ran with it. I still haven't heard anything from Kevin Levine. So he created a new studio that once that section of 2K shut down after Infinite, and he has his own studio, but I don't think he's actually put out anything yet, and it's been a while. So I'm just like, I'm hungry
Probably
for that.
frustrating those devs all over again. Like that was the thing. He had such an astronomical budget. Like him changing his mind 1,000 times wasn't as big a deal. Although I'm sure it aided to the studio going. I don't know how that situation worked, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That makes me want to replay those because I usually every couple of years like I'll dabble, I'll jump in again, especially with this remaster that came out,
yeah.
and I don't get very far. I kind of just like drop it and find something else. But I've never finished Bioshock 2 all the way, and I need to get that under my belt. I have the first one and the third one, but I love them, and especially the movement of the third one. I love jumping around on those sling blade things with the hook. I love that combat, the little arenas they
That's
built.
another thing it had. So I don't remember Bioshock Infinite having finishers, and it definitely does, and they're fucking brutal.
Oh, when you're
So
up close to an enemy and you could do special
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, when you get their health low enough, you can just like grind away at their neck or like twist their head. Like it's
Yeah.
there's blood everywhere. It's upsetting to look at, but I keep doing it. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what?
it's
Actually,
interesting.
as you bring that up, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of parallels to Doom 2016 with the movement. I mean, it's not, yeah, it's a leap to say that, but with the way you're jumping on those monorails, zipping around in and out of combat, the way they kind of create these different platforms, there's a lot there with Doom, and I don't think they share any devs across the board there, but it's kind of interesting to see that and then going to play a Doom afterwards. But they share a lot there.
I think to an extent, yeah. Like it's got that make me think, make me move.
Right.
But I think the one thing that does really cement it back into the Bioshock, which is Bioshock is really about having a gun in your right hand and a plasma in your left hand. And that's, I mean, that's what it is. You're switching between your different guns, you're using different plasmids, and that is sort of that wholly unique Bioshock gameplay, which it does still sort of maintain. Whereas Doom is very well, I don't know. The new Doom is all. I saw an interesting article called "Press Chainsaw to Reload" for
That's
the new
basically
Doom.
it.
Yeah, which is
That's
true.
awesome.
And it was sort of just asking, like, "Hey, what do you guys actually think?" Some people are saying it's too hard. Um, I don't know. It's interesting. And then let me. All right. What else did I play? Uh, oh, I went back and played Scourgebringer. Yeah.
Did they make some updates recently? I feel like I've seen the devs
They
tweet
added new
about something.
weapons. They all feel the same still.
Gotcha.
I started Witcher 3 again and then immediately got exhausted and stopped. It
Yeah.
was weird though, looking at Gerald or Geralt or whatever his name is. He
Yeah.
has no fucking hips.
I think you're
None.
right. Yep.
Is that how people are structured? I don't know. And then I played the West of Dead beta.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't realize I had a beta. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if it's PC only. I feel like
Probably.
it's not. I feel like you can play it on Xbox Game Pass. It plays really cool. It definitely cuts off very early, but it has potential. The controls are very simple and they feel very good. Popping in and out of cover is you don't even press a button to really do it. Um, it
No,
feels good. It's very strategic.
that's the
It's
one
not
that
too stick shootery.
okay.
Um,
I was gonna say that was the one that I want to say was the Game Awards, possibly an E3 where they showed it off. It's narrated or voiced by Ron Perlman, and it's like this
So
th-
that's actually, I would say, a bad thing. And to be
oh
fair, I saw like a review and they mentioned him just phoning in his performance. So maybe that colored my view. But when I was playing it, I couldn't unsee it. Fuck, he didn't care. It just like this man's got talent pouring out of his asshole, and
yeah,
he's reading the lines possibly for the first time. Uh,
interesting.
it's no, it's not good. So
Gotcha.
hopefully they have him re-record. I don't know, but he's
Now
currently
the
not a strength.
I see the trailer from what I remember kind of depicted a merge of this like not sci-fi but this cool western mixed with magic, and then it had a very much like I'm blanking on the name of the studio, but describe the gameplay to me because it looks very actiony, but it's not turn-based at all. Or what are you
Hmm.
managing?
It's so West of Dead. It's the one with the you're seeing the one with the flaming skull, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a sort of the gameplay is it's a twin stick shooter mixed with uh, a cover shooter mixed with a roguelite,
Gotcha.
and it works very well. The cover system is when you're in cover shooting at someone, and you have cover between you and them, you are invincible to their bullets, which
Hmm.
is cool. So cover means something different than it would in a traditional cover-based shooter. It's definitely more covery. That being said, you have to be quick because the cover, I think, basically all the cover is destructible.
Gotcha.
The swapping out the weapons and the passive abilities is basically identical. A lot of the RPG elements are identical to Dead Cells, and that's not a bad thing. Um, I would honestly give it a strength. And it plays different because it is a legit shooter, and the builds feel different. The weapons are all very different. The light system is different. How if enemies are in darkness, they are invincible. But if
Oh,
you light a torch, they become stunned. So there can be times where I'm going out lighting a torch and all of a sudden surprise enemy there, but I stunned them, so I have a second to react. It's definitely got something there. So it could be good.
nice.
The camera is also shockingly good for what it does. It navigates itself and it's sort of bouncing around almost Devil May Cry ish through all these twisted angles. And yeah, it just works and it very much surprised me. So I have high hopes for it. I think it could be really good.
Now, with your time with the beta, how long of an experience was that? Were you spending a couple hours? Was it a
Maybe 20
short?
minutes. It
Gotcha.
ends after the first boss.
I see.
Yeah.
Is it generating the environments, or this is kind of a crafted level that you're playing that you know of?
Procedurally generated, yeah. So yeah,
Gotcha.
procedurally generated levels, permadeath. Yeah, I mean I think a top down shooter, Dead Cells set in the West, and
Gotcha.
you're 90% there, and it's so far a good thing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm
But what
checking
about
out
you?
footage.
What did
I
you
played
play?
a I played a lot of Control. So I told you last week
There you
that
go.
I now own two versions of that fucking game because I do love it, but I wanted to
You're
play
fucking
the.
weird.
Yeah. That was a bad decision, especially being laid off right, like days after that. But anyways, I have time to play it now, so I'm playing it. I wanted to get into the DLC, the Foundation DLC. It's only on PS4 right now until June, so that's why I bought it on sale on the PSN. And I've been playing it quite a bit from the beginning, obviously, and getting to that point where I can unlock that DLC. And I'm having fun. I kind of realized quickly, oh yeah, I love this game, and so I'm just running around, being a badass, building my powers again, shooting stuff. It is a frustrating game though, and I think I've realized that more in the second playthrough, where there's a lot of times you're dying for seemingly no reason. There's a lot of frustration with being able to move out of the way. The ability to gain more health is super frustrating, and then the checkpoints aren't very forgiving, where you're kind of sent way farther back than you really want to go and replay a short experience. That is a bummer, and it doesn't run that well in my PS4 Pro for some reason compared to the Xbox. But it's still fun, and I've yet to get to the point where I've unlocked that DLC, but I'm about 80% done with the single player, and then I can finally play what I've been waiting for.
Right. That is cool that it does, I don't know. It's interesting that it makes you do have to be a certain distance in to be able to play the DLC, which is probably cool. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and it might have actually triggered, and I haven't noticed it yet, but I need to do some googling. There's a lot of unnecessary like menu stuff, and I know there was an update where they actually modified that, kind of simplified it a little bit, but there's just a lot of confusion in the game in general with menu stuff, with getting lost and not knowing what to do. So I think I just realized a lot of these issues my second time around, but I still love the game. But been really just sinking time into that. I played, so Fortnite had a new update where they added Deadpool officially, so you can unlock
Right.
his character. Of course, I had to jump in there and do that and do the Deadpool challenges, and that was cool. It's cool to. It's kind of weird to see them merge with Deadpool because Deadpool's kind of like this R-rated character, you know what I mean? And now he's in Fortnite, but he also
And
toes this
that's the
line.
weird thing though. You see so many kids wearing Deadpool t-shirts. Like they don't really understand. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. It's almost like us being kids and wanting to watch The Mask with Jim Carrey. That was a mature ass fucking comic book. Um,
Yeah.
but here we have Jim Carrey being a goof. Um,
It is strange, yeah, because really, you have the R-rated movies, but he does exist in this weird balance where he is kind of a kid property. And I guess they lean into whatever direction that they want to for whatever version of him you're watching. But other than that, I mean, we had John Wick in the
yeah, because
game too.
I
So
think he's still in like the Teen Titans and whatever. Like they
yeah,
don't shy away from putting him in the cartoons and stuff. So it's
right,
doesn't is he like best friends with Spider-Man or some shit? Like
yeah, yeah, he
it's
is.
all
It's just kind of weird as an adult to kind of watch this unfold. But no, yeah, he's a huge celebrity, a huge comic book star with kids. Like so, it makes sense for them to merge those two. It's just
yeah,
also a bit strange, but yeah, played that, and really that's been about it as far as the video games go on my end.
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, let's we have some video game news here, Gavin. Let's break it down and get into some of this stuff here. We got the
Break it on
first
down.
one. break it on down. We started with some. Well, we have some happier news before we get into some of the bummers, at least bummers that I felt this week. But the first one is IGN announces Summer of Gaming event in June. So they're kind of taking up the mantle, picking up some of the weight from E3 being pushed to next year. So E3 also was pushed to 2021. So they decided not to do any kind of digital event at the end of this year or summertime. So they're going to do it just next year, assuming there's a next year. We'll see what happens with that. But so IGN is proud to announce our new Summer of Gaming event, a global digital event set to begin this June to bring you the latest news and impressions around upcoming games and the next generation of console hardware. IGN will be collaborating with a number of partners for the Summer of Gaming, including 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Google Stadia, Twitter, Devolver Digital, THQ Nordic, and more.
Twitter?
Yeah. Maybe like Twitter gaming side of it, I'm not sure, or just they're using that as the platform to spread it, but they're a partner apparently. But yeah, expect more details in the coming weeks. The event will include live broadcasts and on-demand programming featuring IGN's editorial coverage of the work of game developments from around the world. So yeah, I just found it interesting because they're kind of picking up the mantle because E3 was going to try to do something digital. They decided let's not do it, and IGN said, hold my beer, let's actually host something.
I think IGN's one of the few people that are big enough to do it. Like maybe you could have done Twitch or something, and who knows, maybe they'll kind of split it a little bit. But I mean, they've been covering E3 big time since forever. So if anyone could pull this off, it'd be them or maybe Jeff Keighley at this point. I don't fucking know.
That's true.
But I think that's really cool, and that makes me happy. And you know, we'll get our weird ass Devolver Digital presentation that I'm just gonna hate the whole way through, but I'm still gonna watch it because I don't know why.
Yeah, I've grown to love them, and they weren't on my radar until I think a couple of E3s ago. We watched it live, and you're like, oh, let's check out the Devolver Digital stream, and I was like, what is that? And then let me tell you, and then it's just this off the rails, you know, just like parody of itself, and it's awesome. I love it now every year.
That's what I think of when I think of Tim and Eric Awesome Show, which I also didn't like. So
I love Spaghetti. I love Tim and Eric. So yeah.
Spaghetti. I'd see there were spaghetti stickers slapped around the area I worked in Chicago. So I didn't actually know that's what it's from.
Yeah.
So I just see him and just laugh because it's like spaghetti. I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's very much a weird show, but I do recommend it. I guess keeping in some of the good news, we have Mixer gives all partnered streamers $100 to help during COVID-19 pandemic. So they're giving $100 to all the partners on Mixer. So I guess to be a partner on Mixer, you have to have an account that's at least 2 months old, 2,000 followers, and streams per month needs to be 12 or more days total. So there's various restrictions, but that's dope. I haven't heard anything in news. Yeah, it seems
pretty low bar right there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Twitch do anything like that, but not that there needs to be this race to, but it's they've
been doing fundraisers. They have a concert series going, so they've kind of organized events to raise money. My kind of question is, what is this money going to? I have no clue.
Oh, that they're raising?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, have they not been clear about like this is going to whatever relief funds or back into people's pockets or something? I don't know. At least they're not clear about it, it seems.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. It's very very, very strange. I mean, I could see, and that's the thing, like you can donate money for hospital supplies, but if you can't get the fucking hospital supplies,
right,
what does money do? Or I don't know if it's bringing food to people or what exactly it is.
Yeah, there are ways to provide aid, but it's just a matter of figuring out what they're actually going to spend their money doing. Nice. This one was pretty interesting and happened over the past couple of days here.
I read this right before. This is the only one this is one of the few that caught my eye that I hadn't seen, and this one has me annoyed. Like if I wasn't already annoyed at Overwatch, which I am, but
okay, well, let's get into this. So we got Overwatch League players fined $1,000 each for typing sex, Big Dick in the chat. So this is from Kotaku. Nathan Grayson has the details. While Overwatch League initially reacted to the COVID-19 by postponing all March and April matches, it's now making up for lost time with online games each week. Over the weekend, 2 Overwatch League players, San Francisco Shock's Dung Jun, Rascal Kim, and Los Angeles Valiant's Jungwon Lastro Moon, got fined 1,000 each for a mid-match exchange of words. So in-match chat, Mun began by saying sex and big dick, and Kim tossed in a big dick of his own. This prompted each member of both teams to react with surprise and laughter. Not long into the boldly timed war of words, SF Shock Tank player Matthew Super Delissi asked them to cut it out because of spectators. Asked them to cut it out because spectators can see the match chat. In response, Mun said, sorry, a sentiment he later echoed in an apology on Twitter. This was, I guess, it's kind of like Much Ado About Nothing. You know, this is just kind of plain banter as younger kids are going to do. I get that they're professionals. It's a professional setting, but come on.
Right. I mean, to be fair, they could have said so much worse shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, have you watched a professional Gears match? You have.
No.
Like, these people, like, they'll do, or you watch, like, Halo matches where they cut to the team chat or, like, the team audio. Like, why did you cut to these people? Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much worse. So I don't, this is, like, those weren't even swear words. 1,000,
right.
like, I mean, $1,000 per incident seems like a lot. Why are you showing their team chat in the game anyway? That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think they didn't realize that this stuff was being blasted out on the main chat or main feed, right? Yeah, so I guess in other Overwatch news we have last week when Overwatch League matches began online, Chinese teams, the Gang Zhao Charge and the Gang Du Hunters, competed against one another. The Chinese stream reached over 5 million concurrent views, insane numbers. Yeah, I think people are just hungry for this kind of stuff, and I think a lot of these tournaments are now done online, right? Because they can't physically meet up in spaces, so everyone is just reaching out there because looks like we have some chat stuff going on. Someone has written sex and big dicks in the chat, so just to keep on brand.
As you should. You should.
So we're now each going to be charged $1,000 just in line with the whole Overwatch thing.
I'm in trouble. I should probably pull up the was it Plastic Hearts Pod on here?
Oh yeah, Gavin, you should know that by heart, but yes, it is. But yeah, they wrote it's Queen Bundy, which is my wife, writes, woo, living large, living risky, big dicks. So, you know, just some standard stuff there.
Unless you have a time machine. Yep. Fucking
well, that's all that's on there, but yeah, it's not pertinent. All right, again. Well, while you pull that up, we have another article here. This is Saints Row the Third Remaster coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Polygon's Colin Campbell has the deets. So Deep Silver announced on Monday morning that a remastered version of its 2011 action-adventure Saints Row the Third will be released in May. Saints Row the Third Remastered.
2011?
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
Right. No.
Well, we can Google it.
Oh wait, yeah, it is, because that would have been. Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha. Well, if you feel old now, Gavin, that's it's 2011 is when it came out. So
I haven't felt as old since I told a coworker that who was talking about Smash Brothers. It's like, I've been playing this since before you were born. Oh fuck, I've been playing this since before you were born.
Yeah.
You can still whoop my ass. So.
It's tough, Gavin. You know what? Life's hard. So yeah, this Saints Row the Third Remaster out May 22nd. Are you a big fan of the Saints Row franchise, these games?
It blows my mind. I've mentioned this before. I haven't really played them, which is stupid because my favorite game of all time, or like tied for favorite game of all time, is Conquer Bad Fur Day, and this is just humor right there.
Yep.
With it. So why am I not playing this? And this is also a thing that more video games need to be, where the humor is not in stupid shit people are saying. It's not, you know, these crazy cutscenes. It's just make the game funny, and you're gonna laugh your ass off at things that no one else sees. So I need to play these games, and this is. I know I've seen the scene where you come down to one of Yeezy's songs, and it's just incredibly badass. So I need to experience that moment.
No, I think the third is the one with the superhero abilities, right? Or did they introduce
I
that in
think
the
so.
second one? I know it gets they kind of fully realize like, hey, let's get completely insane with this, and there's you can kill each other with dildos, and you're just running around on buildings, and it gets insane. But yeah, I guess I've never really gravitated towards these games, but I don't see why not. They look like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's kind of nice because it was essentially like Grand Theft Auto started steering at the time with four started steering more towards the serious side, and so this just went the opposite way, and it was really cool to have. We get both timelines, and that was neat.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't realize there was an actual story or it made sense. It seems like just a bunch of craziness happening at once, but
Yeah,
that's good to know. Nice. You're gonna be picking this up at all? It's $39.99 and coming out here in May.
yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Make it happen.
We got the time now. We got the
Yeah,
time.
might as well. I don't think it's that long. I don't know. I don't know how many saints are. Or there's four. I
I feel
think
like there's
four was the
four.
one where it goes super into the superheroes. Three is where they
Uh,
introduce them, and then four is where they go crazy nutso. And I want to say it's the same map, but they still make it work. But I
gotcha,
could be wrong.
gotcha. Yeah, so $40 coming out May 22nd. So we'll see how that unfolds. Gavin, this is another just feel good, interesting article. This is a this Dark Souls 3 Ring Fit mod looks like the ultimate workout. So I've
I
totally
need to
butchered
look
that.
this up.
Yeah, so I have in that same Google Doc, there is the video itself from the streamer, but it's a streamer who's modified a Ring Fit to work with Dark Souls 3, and he's playing it, and it looks ridiculous.
What the fuck
and
is Thumbs GIF cat? What?
it's just the link to that actual feed there.
Could you post a sketchier link?
It's legit. This is from PC Gamer. This is their actual. This is just like the removed link from the thing that they're
What is him
pulling from.
running doing?
Well, let's see. You have that pulled up there. I'm gonna pull it up now as well and
So
check
you
it
gotta
out here.
run to run?
Yeah, it looks like it because there's the switches attached to your each thigh. The Joy-Cons rather.
You gotta squat to heal? That's fucking rough. I mean, it'd be worse if it were to dodge roll, but
Yeah, so I'm checking out footage here too. Yeah, so he's.
this looks great.
I'm sure it's an intense workout because you cannot be doing
Yeah,
this.
look at like his shirt is soaked.
Oh
Holy
yeah.
shit.
So no running equals no movement in game. Squeeze Rincon to attack. Squat to use Estus, which is heal apparently. At first it seemed pretty easy.
Oh no! He slashes an NPC, and that's how they end. Because if you in this game, if you attack an NPC, they're going to be pissed at you for all time. So you
Gotcha.
basically lose an NPC if you attack one. Uh, that's fucking fantastic. Uh, if I were, I would love to for other games to have this support, and I would totally play it. Fuck, that's great. Do that with games. I want this.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be my first run through Dark Souls 3, but that's fantastic. What?
I know apparently there's a game that's either packed in or it's the main one for
Sweet baby.
Yeah. You checking out the chat? Yeah. Yeah, it's my wife fucking with us. So yeah, so it's from user Super Lewis 64 is the actual mod that's being shown there. But the game that was packaged with Ring Fit is Ring Fit Adventure, and that's using the gameplay also in this type of way. I know that one was really well received. People really dug that. So yeah, I mean there's room to merge this kind of stuff together.
I know a streamer who's playing that pretty regularly. He basically it's mixed into his workout routine. It's something he'll do a few times a day, and it looks pretty neat. But I do wish it were more expansive like this. I think I talked about how when I'm cycling, I wish I could be playing some sort of game, but I'm too fucking sweaty. I think this would be, I don't know. It's an idea, and it's like I mean, clearly this dude's shirt was soaked, so
yeah, no, he's getting it.
Yeah, that's. But
Sounds like your roommate is also knee deep in some Ring Fit Adventure or something.
Let me shut my door. Sorry.
You're fine. No, I just hear little rumblings of it. Yeah, so let's jump in now. So we got the Final Fantasy VII Remake review roundup coming up. So currently has an 80 Metascore, which is pretty dope. So all of these quotes here are taken from Metacritic, but all the various huge game outlets gave their 2 cents, and it's across the board. Seemingly, people are really digging it. So we have first up, GameSpot gives it 100. Regardless of your history with the original game, Final Fantasy VII Remake is an astounding achievement for returning fans. This isn't the Final Fantasy VII your mind remembers; it's the one your heart always knew it to be. Destructoid gives it a 90. This world is full of powerful characters and a setting that's worth remembering, remake or not. IGN gives it an 80. The expectations around Final Fantasy VII Remake are sky high, and it mostly manages to deliver. Its combat is top-notch, its enemy variety kept me constantly entertained, and seeing this snippet of story fleshed out with real emotional arcs and the previously hidden humanity behind Midgar filled me with pure joy. Kotaku writes, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not what I expected. It's a grand, ambitious, beautiful experiment, a bold new take on a game that millions of people remember fondly. It sometimes feels shackled by the weight of 2 decades worth of expectations, but it handles those restraints with aplomb. Gavin, how do you feel about all these pretty positive reviews?
Very happy, man.
Yeah.
That's they had so much pressure on their shoulders. It seems like they've, at least lived up to enough of what they promised.
Yeah.
For people to be happy. So it sounds like if they just keep this going for the remainder of the games, they'll be set. They'll be fine. They'll be exactly what people wanted. It sounds like it's pretty. What is it? 35 hours for the first game or something like that. Which is,
I'm not sure. It's possible.
I think that's what Destructoid said. Which that I would be so happy with 35 hours in this game.
Yeah.
That to me sounds super exciting, especially for $60. Perfect.
Right.
But I need to hurry up and finish it, the original playthrough, the story, so I can play through this and really kind of compare it and see how it changes. I'm guessing because I don't have that childhood imagination making the game look better in my head, I'm guessing I'm probably going to like this a bit more than a lot of other people, but hell yeah. Hells to the yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for fans of this because it was kind of, there was a lot of people on pins and needles and waiting to see whether Square was able to pull this off, and it seems like they did. I know we kind of were talking through text about they kind of needed to. I find it interesting how they are rolling out these episodes, and they kind of have to do it this way because they're putting so much into these games and making them fully fleshed out, where they can't just spend 10 years basically building this huge entire game. They have to put out these chunks, and it makes sense to charge a $60 or $40 rather, to kind of keep it funding as well and make sure that at a company level they're actually putting something out. But when they're fully fleshing out each title, I mean, how can you go wrong? They're giving what the fans want, and they seem to be executing it at this expert level. I'm really blown away by what they're able to do.
Yeah. It is sort of interesting that I think part of the reason it can't necessarily live up to the expectations of the original is the original was so gorgeous because they wanted it to be an absolute fucking mind blow, like nothing you'd ever seen at that time. And it was. There was nothing like it. That visually pretty, that expansive. This was an epic, an actual epic. It is neat though, because from the perspective of, like, you look at. So when this came out, it was Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and those were the 2 big ones. And people were like arguing which is the greatest game of all time, which I still think is a dumb argument. But it's sort of neat how with Ocarina of Time, you really can't remake it like this. You can't change. I mean, they basically told the same story many times anyway. But yeah, you can't just make it prettier, change up the gameplay a little bit, set it out, and people wouldn't really be happy with it. But this, you can do this and turn this into something that you couldn't with that. And it's so nice, especially for those fans that have been wanting this for so long.
Yeah, I agree. You really can't, with a game like this, it's so loved, you can't fuck it up. And so I think they understand that pressure, and they're, they don't want to drop the ball as well. And it seems like they haven't. Yeah, it seems like even a lot of these reviews are saying various perspectives are this is one of their favorite games they've played in years. So not only just aside from the remake aspect of it, it's just still a solid experience.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'll be curious to see how they're gonna have to PC up some of the games, so I'll be curious to see how that feels. But it was interesting what I saw at the demo. Barrett is still very much Mr. T entirely. That's his character. So they didn't really change that, and that surprised me. Um, so
So I listened to this kind of in-depth breakdown. This is from Kind of Funny. They had some other people talking about it, and their perspective was that Barrett was more fleshed out. And I haven't, played it. I'm not sure even
oh,
what to
okay.
compare it to. But they were saying, yeah, those same criticisms that he was this kind of weird, like caricature character. And I guess they have fleshed out his story more, and everyone in
That's good.
general. I guess the way they're merging it makes sense. But yeah,
I think that's the one thing. I mean, it seems like the love interests were the main, from my perspective of what little I've seen. It seemed like the love interests were the most fleshed out characters. So it'll be nice that more characters get more fleshed out. I mean, if those two get more fleshed out, Tifa and whatever the fuck her name is, like it's gonna be even harder to make not choose. It's gonna be interesting.
do you think have they convinced you to spend the $60 this coming Friday?
Oh, I will happily pay the $60. It was supposedly one of the greatest games of all time.
Right.
So but I need to play the original first. I need that base. I want to feel it. I want to play it with all its warts. That being said, when I play it on the Switch, I can turn up the encounter rate or turn down the encounter rate, and I
Hmm.
can put it on like 4x speed, so I battle like crazy quick. So I'm not really playing it with all its warts. I'm playing it mildly
Right.
improved.
Yeah, because I
But
think the Switch version is one of the PC versions. Is that
yeah,
right? Gotcha. Yeah, it's cool they give you the option there and kind of just help with how dated it is and let you speed through it a
it's
bit.
yeah. I mean, it's very grindy, which is weird because I talk to people and like it's not that grindy. You just not know how to play it. Well, I don't know how to fucking play it, so it's gonna grind for 20 minutes at 4 times speed every time I enter a new screen, which
Yeah,
is a bit maddening. I don't know. Maybe it auto. I don't think it auto levels, but I don't know. It felt like if I wasn't grinding, then I was underpowered. Um, I don't know.
gotcha. Yeah, I dug the demo quite a bit. So,
Oh, you did play
I,
it?
yeah, well, at least the demo they released a couple, maybe a couple weeks ago, a month ago now.
Yeah, I
Um,
think a month.
but yeah, and I had fun. I guess I wasn't like pulled in completely, but when this thing goes on sale, I think I'll give it a whirl, especially how well it's been received and how much fun people are having with it.
It was interesting that the gameplay to me. Now I haven't played that newer Final Fantasy, but it looked to me like it took a lot of inspiration from Kingdom Hearts, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Mm,
I like Kingdom Hearts battle system, but this looked like that, but with a bit more strategy.
gotcha.
Because I never felt like with Kingdom Hearts it really mattered what spell I was using. I'm just like, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got Goofy throwing rocks on your right, and then you got whatever the Keyblade thing. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on
Goofy to the left of me, Donald to the right. Here I
there. Yes, it's my favorite jam, Gavin. Well,
am.
this next news story was a big bummer for me because I'm a huge fan of The Last of
Yeah.
Us. This one had a lot of feelings. I think I'm glad I had time to interpret these feelings because I was uh, up and down with like how I felt. So let's break it down here, Gavin. This is The Last of Us 2 delayed indefinitely, along with Iron Man VR.
I know Iron Man VR is the one really hitting you right there.
Yeah, that one I had to take an E. I just couldn't handle it, but uh,
Take it.
I had to think about my whole life there, but
Yeah.
so yeah, we have The Last of Us 2 delayed. The Last of Us Part 2 has been also in addition to this, it's been removed from the PlayStation Store because there isn't an actual release date. You can't pre-order anymore for the time being. But yeah, so it was released. It was delayed rather on Thursday. We've had some time now, some interviews with Neil Druckmann, who's the game director. He's kind of talked about what the thoughts were behind the scenes. So this is from Games Radar. Ben Tyre writes, Neil Druckmann on The Last of Us 2 delay, quote, things are changing day to day. Neil Druckmann has appeared on the official PlayStation blogcast to talk about The Last of Us 2's delay. Druckmann said, internally, we know we have a great game, and it's just we have to wait a little bit longer to get it out there to fans. I know fans are disappointed, and believe me when I say this, we are just as disappointed, if not more so, to not be able to get the game out on time. On top of that, Druckmann discusses the nature of the delay and didn't rule out anything when it comes to the game's release as the global COVID-19 pandemic continues, saying that things are changing day to day. He was keen to stress that there hasn't been a final decision yet. Right now, we're just reacting, but it sounds like Naughty Dog is exploring every possible option when it comes to The Last of Us 2 release. He elaborated, right now we're looking at all sorts of different options. What's the best way to get it to all of our fans as soon as possible? But that's going to take time for us to shift and figure things out and also see where the world's at. The Naughty Dog vice president also spoke about how close the game is to being completed. Quote, we're at the 1 yard line. We want to polish it as much as we can, taking our time to review each section and making sure it's all Naughty Dog quality. The game is there. We just have to sit on it for a little bit and figure out what's the best way to get it to our fans. Gavin, this is a reality now. You know, we live in this world where we're just not very certain with what's going on with COVID-19, and it makes sense now to postpone this kind of thing because you want to make sure that with a huge release like this that you can have the retail as strong as the digital release of it. But yeah, what were your thoughts when you had seen this?
Where is? Oh, they're in Santa Monica. Fuck. So for some reason, I thought they were in Austin, Texas. So unfortunately, yeah, they're in one of the epicenters. They're in California. They're in Santa Monica. I don't know how bad Santa Monica's been hit, but California as a whole, especially now, they've sort of. I don't know if you've been watching the numbers, but California had a very slow start. But as far as this whole virus goes, they've been picking up quick, and I think I want to say their death count has passed us, which really the number you want to pay attention to is the death count.
Gotcha.
So I mean, yeah, California just got hit so fucking hard. So it's scary. Before I double checked where they were from, part of me was like, well, is maybe part of it that maybe they were gonna have to delay again anyway because the game's not quite there. They have to release a game that's to their standards. But again, with them being in California, anything that's not even really. It's not a fair question to ask at this point. That's not, and it's not even the point at this point. They're being hit with something that's even working from home, you're still at risk. It's a shitty place to be. So yeah, it sucks. Eventually this game will come out in one shape or another. It's also what's the world gonna want at this point, right? They mention how like the disaster movie after 9/11, right? After 9/11 happened, the disaster movie died because we had our real life disaster movie,
right?
And we didn't want to watch anymore. So this it's kind of similar in concept, right? It's not because we don't have fucking mushroom zombie people, but it's
right.
like it's amazing that we have Resident Evil right now because we're not. Well, I mean, at the same time, though, Plague Inc. has been doing gangbusters right now, except for in China where it's no longer able to be sold. But to be fair, to an extent, I think Plague Inc. helped people process what's happening. Another video essay I was watching recently is talking about how movies and games, they help people practice feeling an emotion, right? Because you don't really know you're ready until you get there, but it does help you practice that emotion. So you've been seeing this rise, people playing Pandemic, the board game, people playing Plague Inc. It's sort of that practice. So I think they'll do fine, but maybe business wise they don't know, and they're not sure, and that may scare them a little bit. But at the end of the day, they're in a really bad place to be living right now with their staff. So while I did ask an unfair question, I fully admit it's unfair, and I wish all of them the best.
Me as well. I know they in interviews they've revealed that they have been working from home for a little while now, and apparently this game has been on track to release, even with whatever's been going on individually with the team. Like they've been able to work from home and still hit these milestones. I think it's a matter of business wise, we're in this weird situation where is this the best time to release something that's this monumental without like a retail thing to rely on? You don't have as many GameStops open, you don't have as many retail places, and I guess one argument, and that's the first thought I had, well, why not just go digital and then release this physically when you have that outlet to do it? But as I process that more, it makes sense to save a game like this. It's so huge that Sony spent so much time developing to really release this when they can hit all those boards. They can release in retail, they can release digitally, they can also do the marketing for it. I listened to Troy Baker, who's the voice of Joel. He was talking recently about they normally do these, like Naughty Dog does these huge press rollouts where they'll send the entire cast, they'll do these long in-depth interviews and talks. They can't do that kind of thing right now, and that's just one aspect of marketing. They can't do any of this stuff right now. So it's like, why would you risk fucking up that release when it's arguably one of the biggest PS4 releases of this generation? So why would you risk messing up that release at all?
Yeah. I think another thing that I just sort of thought about is another rough thing about releasing it right now is I am of the content that I'm ingesting right now, 0% of it is depressing. I'm ingesting nothing depressing right now because it's like the world we're living in is sort of depressing. So
Yeah.
this game is going to be depressing. We know it. The last one was. That's just the way it's going to be. So that's going to be fucking rough trying to release with that. So I do wonder if that could be part of it with that
Yeah,
release
I
window.
think it's all these different issues stack up, and it's like the only possible conclusion is we gotta rest on this thing and wait till it's the right time. It's a huge bummer because everyone has been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this, but it also makes sense to just to wait. I mean, one reality is the fact that as we push this to this indefinite realm, what's next on the docket that's going to be pushed back? We have Ghost of Tsushima, which is due in June. It's June 26th. I feel like that would have to also be pushed. So do we just kind of, as far as first party goes, do we postpone the end of the year? What does that mean for next gen? And that's another big issue I'm thinking of as these things get postponed. What does that mean for next gen? Should we wait on that as well?
And next gen is tricky because we really know so little. Like the Xbox is saying, we don't think we're going to be delayed, but
Right.
that may change. And I think, we absolutely don't know, and we gotta. I hope they're right. Um, I
Even
think
if,
Microsoft has a good head on its shoulders. So if they're thinking they may be right, then I'm betting on them being correct. Uh,
yeah, I would trust because they have there's so much money on the line. They want to make sure that they also don't mess up that release. They have the best minds at work thinking. Also, financially, I would imagine that they have the production stuff ready to go. So they're not really being delayed on that end. They have enough to actually physically produce them.
that's the thing. You
Um,
had people hands on with basically final units. These things are
yeah,
ready to go.
right, right. So it's not really that they're worried about. I wonder if these are $500-$600 machines at the least, right? So is it the best time with this? We're on the cusp of not a financial meltdown, but like a recession. Should
Yeah.
we focus on these higher end products? I mean, is it the best time where you have an economy that can support a release like this, or are they fine with a trickle flow of people adopting this next gen console, and they're fine with that rather than everyone going out to go buy them?
I mean, and that's the thing. Like you've mentioned in the past that they have that program where you can buy in payments. And
Sure.
I still think that's great for a console. A lot of people can't afford that. I could afford a console more easily if I can pay however many, $100 a month. That's,
Right.
you haven't paid off very quickly. Uh, and they have that exchange program. So I don't know, but it's one of those things where if you're not working right now, you're going to be in such a hole. Like for me, who is working right now, the money that the government's handing out is going to be, and like we talked about this weekend, like that money, it needs to go back into our economy and especially the American economy too. Like that's what it's for. Put it back into your local businesses. So yeah, you shouldn't be buying
Right.
an Xbox. uh,
Unless
but
you buy from a mom and pop shop, but there are none of those really
they're
for
still not even going to be making
electronics.
a big enough off of it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's a bad time. Yeah, you're right. That's because again, that's not what this money is for. This is to go back to your favorite restaurant and tip fucking big.
Right.
Uh, it's not for Xboxes. It's not for video games. A lot of them are American, but that's not what this stuff is for.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's
where
bad.
I think across the board, it might be best to wait on this thing until the economy kind of bounces back, till people are back to work, till physically we can actually be in public spaces. We can go to GameStops and WalMarts and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's best to push next gen. At the very least, these big like titles, like we still have Cyberpunk coming down the line. That was November, October-ish
And that's
release.
the game we need right now. Like that's again, this is why I keep playing Bioshocks. I need maximum escapism right now. Maximum. All the way up there. And that game would blow everyone out of the water right now. That's the shit we need. We need that to not get delayed. So wherever the fuck that's being made, Switzerland, Iceland, I don't remember, some European.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. You're right. Yeah, with the CD Projekt Red. Yeah, they're over there, Nova Scotia, something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like those countries have been handling, coronavirus pretty good. So we need them to stay safe and finish this shit for the rest of us.
That's true, but remember that it's not just the areas that are affected where they're developing it. It's a matter of the whole industry kind of changing. Well, not just that. Like when they release it, do they want to release in a situation where not as many people are potentially going to buy it? With the not having the retail infrastructure there anymore, not being able to, you can't rely on only digital sales, because even though like I think that's the future, we're slowly getting there. There's still a huge market that is buying this in physical stores. I can hear your roommate there. That's awesome. He's upset too. Let's get him in on this Last of Us 2 news. So it's like, to put it simply, like I wonder if it's just we're not in the right space to make as much money back on this product, whether it's the next gen, whether it's these huge AAA releases. So I wonder if that's just another issue on top of everything. It's like maybe this isn't the best time to release it. I don't know.
I would
it's
say
a lot of
because
mixed emotions.
that's one of the nice things that Microsoft has going for you is what they call like the smart release or whatever, where you are playing the you release on last gen, you get the next gen when you get it. So I think that's going to work out in their favor.
Yeah, we'll see. It's changing every day. I would expect, now that we have seen The Last of Us being delayed, I would imagine we're going to start getting news of other titles being delayed as well. That's just, I imagine we're going to go down that route. And it seems like, man, we just got to cancel this year in general. We'll just try again. We'll try again next year and see how 2021 goes.
God, it's like every year we're like, all right, suck. This year's going to be better. And it just gets worse.
Yep.
I want to say, what's that theory that like the world actually ended in 2012 and it's just like
we're just in hell now or something?
Yeah, something like that. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it, Gavin. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, if I can spend hell with you, Gavin, you know what? It's not so bad.
Ah, buddy.
All right, Gavin, let's get into this Gears 5 Batista bomb. I want to see this. I want to see this up close. I have the video queued up here. I know you've been able to, from what I understand, you've been able to play as Batista, right, in Gears 5. And this is a new mode, or new move, rather. You could do like a new execution that's going to be added to Gears.
Pull up.
Yeah, let me know when you have it.
How your delay is.
Okay, gotcha. Are you going to watch it through mine? Okay, gotcha. You know what? Smart move. Smart.
I like your. Oh, goodness.
Did you see over the weekend too? I'm not sure if you're still a big or ever have been a big wrestling fan, but I just saw on Twitter people talking about they had WrestleMania, but they had it in a way that they normally haven't done. They had it in an arena, but it was empty. And
I saw a little bit of it, and it was weird. There was a guy. They were in like a 2-story high ring, and he like kicks the guy off of it, where he fell 2 stories, but. That was pretty cool. I don't know if the wrestler died. And then he got interviewed by a girl that was half his height, and she's holding her arms straight up to interview him. And dude, this is weird. Twitch delay is so much less than it used to be. Fuck, that's weird. Yeah. It's like maybe 3 seconds. What is this video? Legit, their fans need this. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say that baseball fans don't need baseball and basketball fans, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a matter.
Wrestlers out there,
right?
Even though I don't watch it.
Yeah, I tapped out a long time ago, but people are digging it. All right, Gavin. Our next story here is Darkest Dungeon developers were serious on April Fool's Day. Multiplayer DLC is coming. So, what do you know about this Darkest Dungeon multiplayer DLC thing?
Nothing whatsoever.
Gotcha.
But it does, from what little I understand. I mean, with the way you build your characters, everyone ends up so widely different. So it's going to be really interesting to see, uh, what people can get going and how that affects. It'll be very interesting. I don't know if it'll play more like a Destiny, um, where you just sort of have your build going, and that's what you take into multiplayer. Um, I don't know. It's really cool, and I'm very surprised they did it.
Gotcha. Yeah, especially since they announced this on April 1st as well. So Polygon has the actual article here. Austin Goslin writes, Darkest Dungeon is normally a game about building a team and bringing them through a series of dungeons with hordes of computer-controlled enemies in their way, but the game's newest DLC, called The Butcher Circus, is bringing a new way to play. For the first time in Darkest Dungeon, players will be able to go head-to-head in a new PvP mode. The DLC was first technically announced on April 1st on the Darkest Dungeon Twitter account. The tweet said it was a preview of the game's upcoming DLC and mentioned both arena fights and hero versus hero combat. Yeah, that's pretty interesting to release it on April 1st as far as the announcement goes, and actually go, hey, you know what? It's legit. It's a good way to play with your community there. But
I mean,
yeah,
companies have done that in the past. I
sure.
want to say maybe Blood Dragon was an April 1st thing, and I love it when companies do this.
Although I think it was interesting this year with the whole Corona stuff going on. I
Yeah,
noticed a lot of outlets not choosing not to do the normal antics on April 1st. And I think that's smart. There's some that you could tastefully do like this announcement, but a lot of the other ones, like IGN, usually does a huge blowout where they do these crazy, like I think they even produced a trailer for Zelda back in the day, like a
yeah,
Zelda
the
movie.
Zelda movie. It was really
Yes,
well done.
yeah. So they do stuff like that, have done it, and I think a lot of outlets decided, you know what, then now's not the right time to to do this, unless it's done in a
Right.
cool way.
It'll be interesting when next year everybody still has their pranks saved up from this year,
Yeah.
and they all just release double the pranks.
Yep.
Yeah, I did like GameJolt.com. They made it so you could put stickers on comments and just block out comments. It was such a
Nice.
dumb prank, but it was fun. Um, and then another April Fool's joke we had. What was it? Platinum Games announced some like modern version of an old game, and
Oh, really?
yeah, and then they pulled that announcement, and now they're saying bonus announcement 4 or whatever because it was supposed to be their final
Oh, there's
announcement.
5 now, right?
Yeah, something dumb like that. And it annoyed people because some people wanted what they announced.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tricky right now to toe
Well,
that line. Although League of Legends is still doing what they do every year. Love it, which is Earth mode, which is you play the game, all your abilities have like 99% cooldown reduction.
oh, okay.
So the game is just like it's stupid unbalanced. Uh, it's crazy fast paced. Stuff that would normally not be legitimate is totally legitimate now with 99% cooldown reduction. Like the game's just insanity, and it's really fun. So I may jump back in and play some Earth, which stands for Ultra Rapid Fire Mode. But
Huh.
Earth was also this joke character that they'd had in the background, which was a manatee with a minigun. Um,
Now, is that a mode that's only enabled on April 1st, or it's like a
yeah,
timed kind of event? That's pretty dope. I like that a
yeah,
lot.
it's a fun one.
Now, Gavin, our next news article here is Receiver 2. This is going to be a thing. You wrote, didn't know anyone wanted this but me. Hope it was multiplayer. So I have the trailer queued up here,
Okay.
the Receiver 2 reveal trailer.
So you don't know what Receiver is.
No.
Okay. So let me throw this at you.
Mm-hmm.
Receiver is a game where there's a key on your keyboard to do anything you can actually do with a gun. Which
Like
so you
reloading
have
and.
to fully understand how to operate a firearm in order to play. So it's like, manipulating the safety,
Oh.
working the slide, loading in the magazines individually. So it becomes this really, actually operating your gun is very complex. And once you get better at it, it's so fucking satisfying. Getting good with it, doing everything. But it is fun how quickly, with specific guns anyway, that reloading is a massive pain in the ass.
Mm.
Because certain, especially, I think there was it the Glock. There was a gun in the game where You don't actually, when you load it in the magazine, you can already have a round in the chamber, I think,
Okay.
and you don't have to do the whole slide pull. So certain guns, it's a lot quicker to do a magazine change, whereas a lot of guns, it's a massive pain in the ass, especially a revolver. Um, so yeah, you get very intimate with your firearm. You get very good. Um, it's super cool, and it's procedurally generated levels. Anyway, we could probably play the trailer, but
Gotcha.
it looks way better. The developer is super talented, and I really, if they do multiplayer with this, it's going to be so crazy. Um,
Let me know when you've if you already triggered that trailer here. Well, I'm
I'm watching
gotta
the
go.
stream.
Gotcha, gotcha. So yeah, Wolfire Games. So I imagine the manipulating your gun, all that, that's done in the context of it's like a first-person shooter kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha,
first
gotcha.
person shooter.
That's dope. So that's while you're in combat, you have the ability to manipulate your gun in all these different ways.
Yeah, yeah. Are you gonna play the trailer on the stream?
Yes, I have it going right now. Yep, there we go.
Nope.
Thank you for reminding me.
um,
How
yeah,
long has this
Wolfire
been around
Games.
for?
They originally came out. Fuck, did the original come out? It's old because Wolfire Games, they've been working on this game called the Iru or something. I don't know. They've been working on it forever. This guy's like a
Gotcha.
technical genius, basically a one man army, making this incredibly complex game. And this was something I think he made for a jam, and it was just absolutely brilliant. I think he just put it out there so you could buy it, just cause. And it was really fun. I didn't really hear much of a fanfare for it,
Yeah.
but it was just so satisfying getting to really control your weapon. And I would whenever I'd load up when you start off, you get like a random weapon, and it'll maybe the safety will be on or it'll be off, or you have to basically go through your weapon and see its current state, whether there's a round in the magazine. If you pull the slide to check and see if there is, maybe you'll pop it out and then you got to reload that back in. It's very, very complex in
Gotcha.
controlling that. So I do wish you were fighting maybe human opponents as opposed to robots. I don't think they were that fun to fight in the first one, but they were scary to fight, very scary. So maybe that's it. They're still hard to hit.
Yeah. Now it's on Rails. You have free movement around this world, right?
Yep, free movement. It
Gotcha.
is the aiming is a little bit weird when you do pull your gun up. It doesn't move. It's not pointed in the center of the screen, so you kind of have a little bit of leeway with your gun, which makes it interesting.
So yeah, my first thought was I wonder if the movement is more complex because now you have all these different options with manipulating the gun. If that's cumbersome because you have all this stuff now you have to kind of anticipate and think about. But it seems like it's not the case.
It definitely makes it so if you have to reload, and like you really, if you engage in a firefight, you generally want to try and be careful with every round because you really don't want to reload
Gotcha.
mid firefight. But if you do, generally you try and hide. Um, yeah, it makes reloading so intense.
I'm a big fan of that concept becoming more and more popular where you can't just reload willy nilly because you can't do that in reality. You're losing
Right.
bullets in that clip if you're just to expel it like that. So I know
And that's
with
the way it works in this. Yeah, I mean, because it's all
nice.
simulation. Yeah.
Right, I know with Half-Life Alyx, that's an issue too. As soon as you lose a clip or a magazine, those bullets are gone. That was dropped in that clip. So you have to really be managing
Right.
ammo in that kind of sense too.
The one thing I'll say with this though is like when you have that magazine that you pop out, you put it in your pocket. So you
Oh,
don't
gotcha.
lose those rounds because you have it in your pocket. You can
Right.
reload that magazine, and it does. And in that case, it also matters too. How many magazines do you have on you? Because yeah, you can cycle through 3 magazines real quick, or you have two at that current point in time. So that brings an interesting aspect too. Is that how many magazines, how many bullets? How do you manage what you have? Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. No, that's a I love that concept. And so I wonder if this would also be done really well in VR if you had the same kind of thing with Receiver 2 also in VR.
VR honestly might make it too easy.
Hmm.
It might. I'd be curious to see if you could pull it off on controller. I think you could, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
it'd be interesting too. Yeah, throwing in a bunch more guns, so you have to memorize all of them, and then yeah, throwing in a multiplayer mode. I think it'd
Right.
make multiplayer matches so fucking intense.
I agree. I'm definitely gonna keep that on my radar here. Gavin, we have this This thing came out of nowhere, as you said, and you're exactly right. So this is Mortal Shell came out with an official announcement trailer. This is a next gen game, I want to say. No, this is a current gen game. I don't have my facts straight on this. I want to say it's either cross gen or current gen. But Mortal Shell, if you have that trailer, if you want to get it going at the same time, I will find the actual dev here.
Still watching the stream.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Thanks for.
Yeah.
So Cold Symmetry is the dev there, but yeah, let's check out this trailer. Got it queued up right now.
I mean, it's almost got some Souls elements, but it looks like it's very much carved out its own niche.
Yeah.
Guy's just fucking pretty. Yeah, I think you could do this current gen. That doesn't seem too undoable.
Yeah. I have any of the audio going, but
intense. Are you able to full screen that?
I can, but it messes everything up. It's a whole thing.
Oh.
Thanks. Yeah, some of the character design looks really cool.
Yeah, so I guess part of it is you take over bodies of enemies, Kirby style. But so yeah, that's part of it. These people are your shells.
Right. Okay, I remember hearing about this. Okay.
So that's pretty cool. It seems like whereas Dark Souls, you have these weapons, and these weapons, the way you use them, there's a lot of personality. In this case, an actual enemy is now the, and I'd be curious to see how that works. A lot of these cases, but you know, I don't know. Maybe they give these characters a mini skill tree, and that gives you even more depth. So
this looks super dope, and we're seeing some gameplay stuff too. It looks awesome.
Yeah, and if nothing else, this is a fucking looker. It has got the style 100% down pack. This, feels like a world that you could really inhabit.
Nice. I'm sure it's gonna be just as brutal. Right, that's the thing. I'm sure it's gonna be just as brutal as like the Souls games and whatnot. But yeah,
I'd
awesome.
be curious to see if it is. Yeah, if it is a little bit lighter, it looks. I don't know. It looks like you're getting hit, so it looks to me like a Souls. But also it's got a very similar visual style to the whole thing. So I don't know.
Gotcha. Now, Gavin, the next thing I have ready for you is Rogue Legacy 2 was announced.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So many people are excited for this game. Did you like this game?
I've never played them. At least the first one, anyways.
Yeah, I know. So I've heard about so many people that absolutely adore Rogue Legacy. I'm not one of them, but it blows my mind how many people are super into this.
Yeah. So it looks like it's just a tiny teaser as far as their Twitter page goes. But
there are some screenshots you can find that don't do much more for it. But basically, it's losing its faux pixel art style, which I didn't really like the pixel art style in the last one because it'll scale improperly, it'll tilt improperly. It wasn't really, I don't know. It was fake pixel art for the sake of being fake pixel art, even though at the same time it's not really fake pixel art. It's just not scaling and treating it properly, which is my own personal complaint. But yeah.
No, I know. I'm looking at footage of the first one here, and so you're saying they change up the visual style or the oh, gotcha.
Well, I mean it's like this, but instead of like those pixely edges, so it's got this sort of so it is pixel art, but not being treated like pixel art. Whereas the new one is more drawn, but in this style.
I see.
So,
nice.
I just felt like the first one was too unfair a lot of times, and that really frustrated me. You really kind of had to both grind, and I don't know, like there was a lot of skill involved. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely felt very, very grindy to me.
Gotcha.
And the first one frustrated, so we'll see how this one does. But the developer's fantastic. I forget what their follow-up game was, but I remember it being really good.
Nice. Yeah, I've never played this. Looks like it's on PC. I imagine this would be perfect on Switch. Definitely will check that out. So yeah, I'm not seeing the dev name, but I don't know if you're looking at it.
Games,
there we go. Yep.
They make, and of course their original game back on Newgrounds back in the day, Don't Shit Your Pants, which can honest to God recommend to this day. So
Is Full Metal Furies, is that another one of their?
yeah, that's it. Full Metal Furies, which I think it's sale or it's free on Game Pass. Oh, that
Gotcha.
was one of the. I was looking up the list of crossplay games, and Full Metal Fury is crossplay between Xbox and PC. And hopefully they fixed it. I remember when it came out, people were saying it was pretty glitchy, but it seems like a cool game.
Gotcha. Nice. Apparently, some of their titles have gone to Switch. So I'm looking at a trailer right now of Rogue Legacy and Full Metal Furies coming to Switch. So yeah, that was on November 6th, 2018. So it looks like they're probably already there.
Wow.
So what are we waiting for, Gavin? Better jump on these on these titles here.
Do it. Do it.
Well, yeah, that's it for us this week, Gavin. What are your plans for this week coming up? Just trying to stay alive. Any games in your docket now?
Yeah. Bioshock Infinite. We're working on the arcade game.
Nice.
And I don't know. Maybe I should finally beat Final Fantasy VII.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe that's the plan. I don't know.
If you can figure out, if you have it on Switch, if you can figure out how to use it on the Peloton at the same time, then there you go.
Use it on the Peloton. But then I won't be competing on other Pelotons or however that works.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Well, Gavin, yeah, we'll end it there. I'll let you go. Where can they find you on the Twitters?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs. I mainly just retweet this podcast.
Well, hey, that's all I want, Gavin.
Tag me, otherwise I can't find it.
Gotcha. I'll do that more. You're right. You're on the money. And you can find us when I do tag Gavin. You can find us on Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter as well. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.